Okay, it's a Wednesday afternoon, and thanks for joining me here in my home. I'm Adi Kaimovit, and I'm the CEO of a company called Virtual Actuary. Initially, I didn't want to be the CEO, so I say that almost reluctantly, but I've grown into the position, and I think we're doing quite nicely. So, as you're sitting in your office or wherever you are, I think we're going to go through a little bit of a journey, and hopefully together there'll be some questions. I'll also be able to work out in my own mind where we are in the business and what our priorities are. Because I'm quite a firm believer that, making sure that you actually do the priorities is the most important thing in building a business. Because otherwise you're just shuffling paper and it's just like admin stuff. So I'm going to take it for granted that you don't know anything about our business, Virtual Actuary. So I'll kind of start at the beginning. I'll start in April 2017, where we decided to open up an actuary consulting business. So there's two different types of actuaries. I'm not an actuary, but there's two different types of actuaries. You get the actuaries, generally, you get the actuaries that work at the business itself. So you've got the life insurance actuaries, you've got the pensions actuaries, you've got the investment actuaries, you've got the general insurance actuaries, healthcare, and I think there might be another one in there somewhere. But they work at the business itself. And then you get consulting actuaries. So they work in exactly the same sectors, but they are consultants. So we're a consultancy. So our clients are generally the directors that are actuaries that work at the reinsurers. They work at the company. The actual directors and the unit heads and the country heads and the product owners are generally actuaries in the insurers and the banks and all these different companies. So they generally are our clients. So we consult to them. Okay, so I'm not going to go into specifically what actuaries do because it gets a little bit complicated. And, to go into such a granular level is not really what I'm trying to achieve myself. But when there's a bit of a gap, and those actuaries that have different departments are looking for an actuary to slot in, that's who our client is. So that kind of positions us as a consultancy. So now you understand a little bit about how we operate and really just what we're trying to achieve and really how we're trying to slot into the industry. Okay? So we have the different departments, and I think if you're looking at the slides, which I think you are, it gives you a bit of a bird's eye view. Those are not our actuaries, but that gives you a bird's eye view as to what sort of departments we have. Okay? The reason why we decided to go in that direction instead of having one department of actuaries or two departments. There's quite a lot of reasons for that, but I'll go into it a little bit later. The main reason is because our business is self-funded at the moment. So what that means is that, you see, most companies go into a consultancy to say, this is our kitty, this is how much money we have. And what we're going to do is we're going to hire teams based on our kitty for the year moving forward. So they're kind of restricted into how many actuaries they can actually bring on board into the different departments. Ours is a little bit different. Our business model is known as an organized collaborative. So what that means is that we're a group of independent actuaries that all work together to try and pick up clients and get work and then work collaboratively. So it's a little bit different. So that's why we decided to have a bigger spread and actually just a bigger company in general. So my background, I said I wasn't an actuary, so my background is that I worked, besides for other things that I did before, I'm 41 years old now, so in my 20s was another story, but in my 30s I had a company that was a recruitment business for actuaries. So I spent about 10 years as a recruiter of actuaries. So that's kind of like the secret sauce to our business, because in my opinion, if you're going to run a consultancy, an actuary consulting business, one of the most difficult roles in the entire process is building teams of actuaries. Because if you've got an insurer overseas or even locally that needs an actuary or two or three, it's not good enough to just know a few actuaries. You kind of have to work as a recruiter for many, many years to be able to say, okay, we've got somebody, this is what they'll do, this is how they'll slot in. So that's kind of my input into what we call the organized collaborative, and I'm going to go into that. So that's my background. I worked as a recruiter. Obviously, we've gone a little bit past that now. But in essence, as much as all the presentations and interacting with the actuaries and running the business is the fun stuff, because it really is, it's the fun stuff. Unfortunately, and I've dealt with it like the last literally 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've had 2 or 3 or 4 clients that had some requests, and it was very, very difficult to find an actuary that wasn't already in the business, to bring them in. And it's actually, it reminded me of just how difficult it is. Okay. So I'm not here to talk about our business and to try and pick up work. What I'm trying to do is just share a little bit about our journey, what type of business we are, how we're different, in my opinion, to the other consultancies and the other businesses. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to go in with what we call a lean mindset. The lean mindset, nimble and quick. Our entire business is all about no burn rate. Now, most companies go into starting a business and their first thing is, we need like fancy offices. We need a big sign. It's got to be in like an awesome location. We need desk space. We need people to come and work together. Well, the reality is these days digitally, people can work together anyway. So the most important thing is that for us to be successful and to be able to actually survive to a point until the business is pumping, it's kind of like pumping at the moment, but the first year or two, if you're just burning money, then you're never going to get off the ground. So our whole mindset is, like let's say a client wants to see us. So as a consultancy, as normal consultancies, the default is, the client wants to see us. They want to see us face to face. Now, in my opinion, the client doesn't really want to see you face to face, but people will convince themselves that that's actually the case. It's not. The client just wants to be able to interact with you. So our whole mindset is, if we can interact as a starting point digitally, we use programs like Zoom. There's a lot that can be done digitally as a starting point. You don't have to get in your car, get dressed, drive there, get all of our actuaries to go to all the different locations just so we can have a 45-minute meeting with a client. So the whole mindset is, an in-house accounting team, that are our auditors, CFO, we've got bookkeepers, we've got, receptionists. Well, you might as well just throw money away. Can you outsource that work? So we outsource the accounting function. We outsource the design and graphic function. The marketing function, I take care of the marketing function, the look and feel, the branding, the positioning of the business. But the theory is, this is the theory, if your business can remain nimble, you can do significantly better, because as you grow, you'll be able to scale up more. You can always spend money. It's easy to spend money. But the whole mindset is, how can we do this in a more efficient way? Okay, so that's kind of like our whole business. So let's say we were a normal business. What would happen is we would hire actuaries. They would work in our business. We would have a kitty, 20 million rand in the bank, 30 million rand in the bank. And we would hire actuaries. We would go through a process of hiring actuaries, and we would commit to the salaries, and then we would have our burn rate. Okay? So what we've tried to do is rather take it from a different angle and say, if you're an independent actuary and you want to work with us, you can be part of the business. Here comes my cat. He might just jump on the couch. That's fine with me. So we're a group of independent actuaries that all work together in what is known as an organized collaborative. So what is an organized collaborative? It's actually a new business model. Because instead of being a big corporate that has different departments and everybody's on a salary, or being a small boutique type business that also has different people on salaries, that's the same as a corporate. But an organized collaborative takes independent actuaries or independent accountants or independent investment professionals, or or independent engineers, and says, okay, you know what, let's actually work together. we will go forward under a banner. We go forward under the virtual actuary banner. We have all of our terms of business and our contracts and everything in place. Let's go get some work. And so how it works is that when we interact with a client, we put the engagement letter together and we get the client to sign it and we start the work the next day. Most of our actuaries work full-time. Most of them are full-time with us, if not 95% of them. But with an organized collaborative, at the end of the month, when the client pays, we split the money according to who did what. So if you've got 5 or 6 projects on the go, or 2 or 3 projects on the go, you're getting ongoing work, and it's kind of like a salary. So why is our organized, collaborative, nurturing virtual actuary system better than what an independent actuary can do by themselves? Why should, our business only takes sort of like a 10 to an 18% of what the clients pay. So what we've done is what makes us different to the other consultancies is that instead of when the client pays, the consultancy takes most of the money because you're on a salary and you're chasing a target to get a bonus. There's quite a big bleed there. So we're saying the business will take significantly less and the actuaries will take over 82 to 90% of the money. And they'll split it according to who did what. But if you're an independent and you say, well, I want 100% of the money, I mean, that's fair enough. But we've created this business and this model because as an independent, you can't scale yourself. That's the whole point. That's like your Oprah Winfrey aha moment. If you're an independent professional, you can't scale yourself. Because how do you take on your 3rd and 4th client? You can't. There's just one of you. So generally, independents team up with another independent and they share the workload. But as soon as your 5th, 6th, 7th client comes in, both of you are not going to be able to share that workload. You're going to have to bring in juniors, you're going to have to get office space, and you're going to have to now start hiring people, and you become a small boutique business. But if you lose 2 or 3 of your clients, unfortunately what's going to happen is you're going to be stuck with the staff, and it's a tricky one. So inevitably independents decide not to scale up. With our system, as a recruiter, I'll bring a mini-me that works underneath you. That's how our system works, is you'll have somebody that works underneath you. You'll be able to offload some of the work and some of the responsibility onto them, and in essence, apportion some of the money that the client is paying at the end of each month to them, which allows you to scale yourself. It's the same workflow that a normal consultancy has, where you have a senior partner, director, senior actuary, or senior accountant, or senior whoever that has professionals working underneath you. You have to try and share that workload. It's the same thing with us. The only difference is that firstly, you're not chasing a target, and secondly, you can get most of the money. So you're building up your own pipeline. So that's kind of like how our whole system works. It's an organized, collaborative. Not so easy to actually get it going, to be quite honest. But if you can do significantly better. I mean, imagine you worked at a company for 5 years and you built that company and its portfolio up. I mean, you would have to walk away the next, if you wanted to walk away, you'd have to walk away from all of it. You'd probably have restrictions on the clients, and, if you're not hitting your targets, it's a stuff up. You built 25 million rand, but your target was 30. So, you got your 1.5 million rand salary, but you don't get your bonus. So in order to earn like 2.2, you have to bill like 30 or 25. Oh, but you didn't do well enough. Like, in my opinion, that's nonsense. So with us, there's no target. If we bill 20, you'll probably get 17, by apportioning some of the money down to those that work underneath you. So this slide over here really talks a little bit about our business. It's not it's not a brokerage actuarial consultancy. We actually are involved in the whole process. So what we've tried to not come across as is a contractor's business. You say, oh, I know what these guys do. These guys, they just deploy contract actuaries. It's not actually what we do, because they wouldn't be able to work in a team if that was the case. We have teams of actuaries working together, and so that actually makes us a full consultancy. So we're involved in the whole process from start to finish. The focus of this entire business, virtual actuary, and I mean, for those that don't know the business, we picked up over 40 clients in our first year. That's, sort of like March 2018 to February 2019, 40 clients, we billed 13.5 million rand revenue. In our first year, self-funded, that's not bad. Now we're on a trajectory of about 30 to 36. We're billing about 3 to 4 revenue a month. That's in our second year. That's like a year and a half in. So my point is we're a full-blown consultancy and it's working. The organized collaborative is working. So this just shows that, we've tried to come across as a full turnkey solution as a consultancy with our actuaries making most of the money. And I promise you now, if you ask any of our actuaries if they like working in our business, they'll absolutely tell you that it's the best thing that's happened in their lives. Because our whole business is about our actuaries being happy. Interacting with the world more digitally, because we call the business Virtual Actuary. Why? I mean, it wasn't a fluke. Our goal, our 10-year goal is actuaries, and data scientists. We actually have a great data science team as well. Actuaries and data scientists working from home in virtual and augmented reality. This is not far-fetched at all, and that's our 10-year goal. So, in order to get there, there's no point in building something for 3 or 4 or 5 years and just burning money until you get there, because you will get there. And then you have a burn rate. What's the point? So we decided to just actually open up as a normal consultancy first. Over 85% of our actuaries, let's say 75% of our actuaries are working inside the client's offices. Anyway, on lockdown laptops, same as all the other consultancies. But we're aiming towards actuaries consulting from home in virtual and augmented reality. So this slide is really just about, how do we globalize? Because this is not about a small South African business. And the truth is, we've got about 40, 45, 50 actuaries working full-time and data scientists. We're actually bigger than most of the big consultancies already, which is quite interesting. But the goal was never to be a big South African consultancy, a chunky one, billing however many million a month. The whole focus is actually to be a global digital virtual consultancy. Clients in Asia, which we've just started taking on, clients in the US. So how do you do that? I mean, it's pretty challenging, as you can imagine. Firstly, where do you find the actuaries to scale up your business? Well, that kind of takes us back to our secret sauce. I've known about 4,500 actuaries over the last 10 years. So if there's an insurer or a reinsurer in Singapore that needs sort of 5 life insurance product development actuaries tomorrow that can work on a project for the next 2 years or for the next year, anybody that tries to compete with us will not be able to find those actuaries or know how to recruit them. Well, at the rates that they're paying overseas, we'll be able to scale up quite quickly. And in fact, we actually have a bit of a little bit of a waiting list, maybe 70, 80 people that are quite keen to join the business and resign, besides for those that are already in the business, working full-time. They want to resign, and we're just waiting to have enough work for them, because the work that's coming in is going to the actuaries that are already part of our business. So this slide is really just about, logistically, to grow the business globally. We've got actuaries in London, we've got actuaries in Bulgaria, we've got actuaries in Australia. Jayesh is leading the Australian team. In New York, in the US, we've got a US lead who's possibly one of the most talented actuaries I ever met in my 10 years. And there's a few other actuaries overseas in the US that are going to work with her. But the key in being a global consultancy, in my opinion, firstly, we don't have the restrictions that the other big consultancies have with their sister companies that won't just let them just do banking work in Denmark, because there's already a big consultancy in Denmark that's a sister company of theirs. We don't have that problem. But being a digital business is not good enough, because the clients actually want somebody to walk in the door for now. So what that means is you have to have in-country actuaries that know the regulatory requirements, that have the sign-off that are associated with, hopefully they're CFAs as well, but from an actuarial perspective, they actually have the ability from a regulatory perspective that they're associated with the fellowship in that particular country. Otherwise, you can't sign stuff off. So the truth is we have to have actuaries in certain countries that we want to operate in, that we can have our teams of actuaries in South Africa working through. And that's kind of like what we're doing at the moment. Is we've gained the traction in South Africa, and now we opened a US office in Dallas, and now we're going to actually push for quite a bit of our work in the US. The currency is stronger, although obviously we're all expecting the South African rand to improve dramatically. The country is doing fantastically well at the moment, and it will improve. And it's a fantastic country. And we'd also like to be earning in overseas currency. Geez, I'm actually running out of time. So this slide over here talks a little bit about the mindset of our business. The mindset is as follows. It's really about how you treat your people, how you treat those that work in the business. If you treat them like employees, they're going to act like employees. If you treat them like partners and like family, they're going to grow the business with you. So what we're saying is that here we have a group of actuaries that went through primary school and high school, got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 distinctions. Head boy, head girl. Could have become doctors, accountants, lawyers. They could have done anything. They became actuaries. In my opinion, one of the most difficult degrees you can actually do. And where's this led them? The industry overseas and locally, the corporate industry is really just about get stuck in traffic and work in a sardine can box. I mean, yes, they put some flowers and, kind of make it look zhuzh, but the reality is it's just not the future. It's just not where things are comfortable. And so our whole vision and what we're aiming for is, use your mind, use your ability in the comfort of your home digitally. You'll be way more productive as well, actually. And, traffic's not getting any better. And the reason why traffic is bad is not just because there's so many cars on the road every year, but the reality is it's because people don't have to sit in the office waiting for that fax or that email or that telephone call. They can work on the road. So besides for just more people can work on the road. And that's not going to get any better. So, you've got all these sort of like work collaboration businesses that are popping up. Well, in my opinion, we're like 2 steps ahead of that. Because it's not about building, shared workspaces. Well, people don't want to travel to your workspaces. They want to work digitally from home. The sort of work and live from home environment deliveries is just going to do significantly better. So that's where we're aiming for, and that's what's happening. So, we're actually a technology company. We're not just a normal consultancy. Eventually, we're going to go into the actual virtual actuary platform and the system, which will have AI and being able to actually match the actuaries with the clients, and that's kind of something we're working on at the moment. But as a starting point, remember I said, what we're aiming for is actuaries working digitally, virtual reality from home, but there has to be a starting point. If there isn't a starting point, then you're just pie in the sky. You're talking about nonsense ideas. So what is the starting point? Well, let's have a look. We use programs like Zoom. It's off the shelf. It's easy. It's simple. You can share screens. We can do collaborative meetings where we're going through different models. We're looking at code. We're interacting together. We can say to the client, log in. You can phone in from a boardroom. I sit in meetings where the actuaries go into the boardroom and they dial me in on Zoom. They dial out. It's off the shelf. It's kind of like, I'll say this, there has never been an easier time or a more palatable time to get into a small startup business or, a big startup business. You don't have to have a 5 million rand server downstairs. We use Amazon Web Services. They even give you socks. You see these awesome socks? These are my AWS socks. Get the socks. Start a business so you can get the socks. And, you don't have to have a boardroom with video conferencing facilities. If you get stuck in traffic, you can still be in the boardroom, in the meeting, you can dial in. So we use programs like Zoom to be able to interact as a team. It's extremely efficient. Like, I don't know why people are scared to be efficient. Like, what is it? I mean, do you actually like going into the office? So I don't want to like say anything negative about the office environment. In my opinion, we can have the best of both. Our actuaries work inside the offices, but there's a lot that can be done digitally. And don't be scared of technology. Like, it's so easy. It's just so useful. Just go with it. So we use Zoom. We also use programs like Slack. If you don't know what Slack is like sort of like a group chat. We have the different rooms on the side. I mean, you cannot imagine the universe that we have in our Slack room, where we're talking about stocks, we're talking about models, we're collaborating with overseas programmers on our InsurTech stuff. It's unbelievable what happens on our Slack. There's messaging. It's way better than WhatsApp for business. It gives us that kind of homely office environment where you have colleagues at someone's birthday, everyone wishes them happy birthday, but it's way more than that. So that's what we use. And okay, so this guy is Damon John. He is one of the guys from the Shark Tank, and he's pretty much, this is his quote, it's all going virtual, and everything's going towards virtual reality. So we've made a bet. We've made a bet on virtual reality. That virtual reality is going to be the future. That's our bet. You know, I don't know what your bet is, but our bet is that everything's going to be in virtual and augmented reality moving forward, and that is actuaries working in, let's say, a Microsoft Office, VR environment, actual doing the work. That is consulting into the boardroom in an augmented reality way, which is what we call a more immersive way. And that's the way that we see the business and the industry going. And we're pushing towards that because, you know, it's as clear as day as far as I'm concerned where we're going with this. So our go-to-market strategy, you know, as I said, I'm not here to push the business, and I'm not here to say we're so amazing and so fantastic. Our go-to-market strategy was we banded together about 20 actuaries from April 2017 till September. I then phoned about 388 of the senior directors, and we told them about our business, you know, that we can charge less than half the price to the other consultancies because we don't have the office space. We're not burning, you know, we don't have massive offices. We don't have people flying business class. We don't have massive office parties and Christmas parties and all these other parties where we have to work that into the price of the consulting fees. So we can charge less than half the price. And then secondly, we told our clients that when they pay at the end of each month, we only hold back a small portion and our actuaries take home most of the money. So that's a big difference. You know, that's a massive difference in my opinion. Our go-to-market strategy also was to take my 10-year network of actuaries that I'd interacted with. And, you know, how do you get the word out there? How do you get the word out that you have a business? Well, a little nugget was I took our database, our network, you know, first name, surname, cell phone number, email address, you know, uploaded onto Gmail contacts, bought a new Android phone, synced my Gmail contacts with my network of actuaries, and then synced all my social medias, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything. And we connected. And so we were able to market the business and tell everybody about our business. And it's very, very effective and it's very efficient. If you don't have a LinkedIn presence, I would say that, like, if you do not understand that somewhere along the line, you got to get your news from somewhere, you got to be interacting with your clients somehow, you got to be interacting with potential colleagues. In my opinion, we also made a real big bet on LinkedIn. And I guess I just want to almost take a moment and and just say one thing that is very, very important about our business. You know, the reason I'm here is because you know, I don't shut up and I talk a lot, but someone has to for our actuaries. Our business is really about our actuaries. Consulting into a local, definitely local, and global clientele. We got some absolutely amazing, talented, very experienced actuaries that have been directors, partners, senior managers, and more junior in some of the other companies. And the only reason why we're doing so well, literally us, you know, got 40, 45 clients now, but there's probably more if I really had to count it. We're probably going to bill over 30 million rand in our second year. The reason we're doing so well is because our actuaries have got the heart and the guts to be entrepreneurs in their own right. When we build this business, we're building it for the actuaries so that they can be successful. Now, in my opinion, that is a different mindset to some of the other consultancies that are building their business for the shareholders and the profit. You know, we believe if we build this business correctly, our actuaries will benefit. You know, it's kind of like if you're an independent entrepreneur, well, it stops at you. But with us, you can still be an independent entrepreneur, but you work as part of the collaborative. The better you do, we'll just piggyback with that and we'll help you and uplift you and support you to be more successful. So that's what the organized collaborative is. Okay? So if we go back to LinkedIn, you know, this is kind of my profile over here. Please connect with me. And LinkedIn has enabled me to get booked to speak overseas on disruption. I speak on disruption, and I'll talk a little bit about, you know, what is the mindset of a disruptor. It's a very, very difficult and tricky thing to get right. Everybody, you know, is all about disruption at the moment, but what is the mindset of a disruptor? So the first thing is you know, you have to actually have a presence online. And this is my presence. I was able to get booked overseas, and this presentation over here with the CFA Society South Africa. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a fantastic society, and if I'm not mistaken, quite a lot of our actuaries are actually CFAs. In fact, one of our actuaries just passed, I think it's level 3. I mean, it was quite a low pass rate. The standards are super high. They really are. He's an actuary, and he was concerned. So if you're progressing and you're part of the organization, I mean, well done to you. And I believe it's very, very hard. This is just a little bit about what some people are saying about our business model. Our business model it's the future of consulting. It's not actually the gig economy. It's actually the talent economy. And it's really about a group of talented professionals working together and interacting with potential clients digitally, kind of like your Fiverr, your Upwork, your TopTel for actuaries. And we're busy building that system. A lot of it at the moment is manual. Where we're at from a funding perspective at the moment is we completely self-funded still. And the reason for that is because we've tried to jump over as many funding rounds as possible, purely because, you know, we're looking to take on the big consultancies overseas. And if you have any questions, please, like, I'm super keen to, like, actually hear your questions. Like, I can talk forever, but I'm super keen to hear your questions and just to understand, like, you know, like what you're actually thinking. But this is a little bit about what people are saying about virtual actuary online. This slide is really just about just running a business in general. You know, one is trying to interact with investors, and where we're at the moment, we're just pushing for our round A. So we've passed over seed and angel and family and friends and all that kind of stuff. We kind of like it like a round A, round B, you know, where, you know, our concept is proven. You know, we're an actuary consulting business. We charge a lot less. We're a lean business, and our actuaries get most of the money, and we can scale up as an organized collaborative. We can scale up each actuary. That's like proven, that's working. We've got like plenty of clients, and we love every single one of our clients. and they have huge expectations, and we absolutely deliver. We have delivery managers. We even have some CAs that are just about to join the business. Okay, and so we definitely are interacting with potential investors, because our business was never supposed to be a family-run organization, small little consultancy. As a fact, our business is going to be an institutional business. So that means we're gonna get institutional funding. But what we do not want is somebody to come in and firstly tell us what to do. Like, we're totally coachable. We've got a very good, strong board. Very, very strong. Very small for now, but very strong. But the most important thing is we don't want somebody coming in and telling us what to do and turning us into another big consultancy. The reason we don't want that is because the mindset of our actuaries are more important than the profits of the business is a small business mindset. But now as we start to look at our first round of funding, and you know, we're not looking at 10 million rand, you know, we're looking at like the equivalent in dollars, because the reality is we're building a global consultancy. It's taking on some of the biggest consultancies in the world. So there's no point in bringing somebody in now, you know, and just giving up like unnecessary equity. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We've just split the investor shares and the founder shares. That's a whole rabbit hole conversation to have. You know, our term sheet is our term sheet. Like, we could literally go down this conversation of investment at the moment. But in essence, we've structured the business in such a way now that we will get an institutional investor in. We'll be able to sell off, you know, over 70% of the business from an investments perspective and still maintain 51% of the boardroom from a shareholder control perspective. And that will allow us to actually run this business the way we want it to run. So, you know, I'm a firm believer as well, as cocky as it sounds, is that the right investor, and we're chatting with a few. We're not desperate. That's the best part. We're absolutely milking it, you know. We're doing brilliantly from a earnings perspective, profit perspective. I believe that the right investor will absolutely fall in love with our business, and it's a fact. Okay. And everything else that goes with running the business, interacting with the actuaries. I'm actually going to go one slide back and just say that, you know, when interacting with actuaries, it's not a quick conversation. Those that want to work in the business, it's not well, tell me where you've worked before. Okay, we've got a spot for you. It's not at all like that. You know, each actuary that works in our business is that they're a universe in and of themselves. Very complicated people that have overachieved for so many years. One really, really has to take the time to understand what are their goals. Do they like management? Don't they like management? What do they want to achieve? Where do they see themselves in a few years? Can we fit into that? So there's that whole mindset of getting the actuaries to work collaboratively together. The personalities, understanding some people are front office, they enjoy that kind of client interaction, some are more back office, very technical. How do we match that? How do we get the best out of that? So that's kind of like what I do. I'm the air traffic controller of the business. Someone has to chase the clients up for money. Someone has to make sure that our terms of business with the clients are absolutely tight, that people don't take advantage of us. Someone has to send out the Zoom meeting links so that everybody knows what's happening. I try my best to kind of do that. But what's quite nice is over the last probably year or so, a lot of the managers have really like stepped up to the plate, and they're now doing all of that stuff, and they really are just growing into the business. So my juggling act is a lot easier these days than it was when we first started. But we're doing nicely. Okay, so if we look at, you know, what is disruption, and I'll try and like kind of zip it along, and then we'll almost finish off there. So when we talk about disruption, you know, there's this whole term at the moment of insurance versus insurtech. Like, what is insurtech? It's like having better software and being able to administer insurance better, being able to sell insurance better, being able to value the insurance policies better. It's InsurTech. It's the technology of insurance. You look into the Internet of Things, IoT. It's InsurTech. I'm going to put my head on a block and say that InsurTech is going to destroy insurance. Destroy. And just because you're a massive insurance company that runs on legacy systems and you think that you're not going to get taken out, like you're wrong. Okay, because you're just going to get stuck with like old systems. You're going to be burning money, massive offices. Someone's going to come in with a very similar product. They're just much better at administering it, much leaner, and you're just not going to be able to keep up. And you're going to have to basically like sell off your departments. That's what's going to happen. So insurance versus InsurTech, you know, the slide that I've got over here is really about when they climbed Kilimanjaro for the first time. I don't know what year it was in. They had their Sherpas, they had their gas masks, they had all the food, tens of people helping them get to the top. They get to the top. What do they see when they get to the top? The kings of the world, they've conquered the mountain. They see somebody running towards them. A little boy running towards them. They says, "Hey, what are you doing here? How did you get here? No gas masks, no like wearing like just basic clothing." He says, "Hey guys, what are you doing here?" They said, "How did you get up here?" He says, "How did I get up here? My parents grew up halfway up this mountain. We have a house halfway up this mountain. I grew up on this mountain." The young millennial technology savvy professionals grew up playing PlayStation, Game Boy, Xbox, all these other things, with their phones. For them to be able to come up with a system to be able to better your system, it's like second nature to them. Like I'm 40 years old, but for us to come up with the organized collaborative, which in my opinion completely nullifies the business model of the big corporate that has to bill because they've got such big fees. Like for our business model is so disruptive to the normal corporate world. 2 seconds makes perfect sense to me. It wasn't there before. Like I'm not saying we're the only people in the world that do an organized collaborative, but we brought it into this industry. So I can tell you right now that InsurTech is going to destroy insurance. So what you're going to do about that, well, that's a whole other conversation to have. Okay? And also, I'm going to also talk a little bit very, very briefly about another industry that was disrupted, windsurfing. Windsurfing was probably the most extreme fun thing that you could do. Like, what is the mindset of a disruptor? Okay, so a disruptor would have to create something that beats something else. You don't disrupt an industry, you disrupt your competition. You work in an industry, you service an industry. Airbnb, they didn't disrupt the hotels. They didn't disrupt the accommodation industry. They disrupted their competition. Uber didn't disrupt the travel industry. They disrupted their competitors' ability to make money. So when it comes to being a disruptor, the mindset, I'll talk about that now. What is the mindset? But if we look at a perfect example of something that was disrupted, look at windsurfing. Big board, big pole, big sail, the most fun that you can have in the water. I'm a kite surfer. That's the whole point. Okay, so kite surfing. Kite surfing disrupted windsurfing. They didn't make a bigger board with a bigger sail and a bigger pole. I mean, the ladies couldn't even carry that big board to the water. It was too heavy. They didn't make it bigger, stronger, better. They changed the way that they interact with the whole environment. The kite surfing board is leaner. It sticks on your feet. It's more nimble. It's lighter. They use lines and a kite to interact with the wind and the water. With windsurfing, you can jump like 2 meters off the water. Kite surfing, 6, 7, 8 stories. I've jumped maybe 5, and you can go far. It's way riskier. Much riskier, but the rewards are incomparable. Kite surfing disrupted windsurfing. InsurTech, FinTech is going to disrupt banking. It already has. So the same way that kite surfing disrupted windsurfing. So what is the mindset of a disruptor? Like, how do you think? Well, I've given this a lot of thought, and what we're talking about is you need to become the Lone Ranger. Dun 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 dun. I think his horse was called Tonto or Pinto or something, I'm not sure. But what was the mindset of the Lone Ranger? He didn't need a whole posse. He wasn't the new sheriff in town. There was a problem, and he went to sort it out. Didn't wait for somebody to clean his horse. He didn't wait for somebody to organize wagons and guns. He went there and he did it himself. The Lone Ranger mindset is the way of the disruptor. You go out there, you see a problem, and you sort it out yourself. You do it. And you have to find an awesome tune as well. Dun, 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 dun. So these are our clients, some of our clients. And they're no joke. I mean, some proper companies there. We've also, so I'll kind of finish off with this, and then we'll go to some questions. We'll take a little, like sort of like a 2-minute break, and then if there's any questions, I just want to also see, because there were some questions that for some CPD points, and you know, so the truth is that we're aiming towards virtual reality. We have to get there. We have to actually make money until we get there. I was always of the belief that our actuaries should have better software than any other company. So we've teamed up with a business in the US called InsurTech Global, and our modeling software can do a stochastic model of like 5 million policies, 25,000 scenarios in like, I think we're down to like 20 seconds or 30 seconds instead of like 2 weeks, if at all possible. So we've got better software. We are going to move into what we call the software as a service market. Log in, do the runs, log out. We have, we're using the software for InsurTech Global. We kind of like testing it out, helping them out as well. And that's our collaboration. And that kind of like takes us to the end of my presentation about the business. We'll take a little bit of a break. I don't know. The truth is that I almost want to like take a step back and say, as well as we've done, unfortunately, we're probably about 5% of where we'll be in like 4 years. Actuaries working collaboratively overseas, locally, in a virtual reality setting. The virtual reality setting is probably like 10, 11, 12 years away. And there's a truckload of work that has to happen until we actually get to that point. But I believe that if we can hold the principle of charging our clients less, making sure that the quality and the delivery is equal or better to our competitors, making sure that the mindset of our business is that our actuaries are more important than our business, and our data scientists are more important. We want to make sure that they're happy. And because if they're happy, they'll be with us for a long time. Our business is a lifestyle. It's not a place of work. We want them to be able to spend more time with their families. Like, look at this, like we're not in some crazy studio somewhere, with like plenty of people. Like, it's totally digital, it's totally lean, it's totally modern, it's totally now. And, if the wind was good today, like pumping, like hooking, if I didn't have anything else to do for that, I'd quickly get into my wetsuit, go for a quick kite session, come back, do some more work till 12 o'clock at night. Like, you'd never be able to work that late and still interact with your family, go have a little bit of dinner, like 8, 9 o'clock, go do like another hour or two. Like last night at about 9 o'clock, I was chatting with Brazil, because we're going to do some work there. US as well. These are different time zones. I think we've got people working in 8 or 9 time zones at the moment. So there's quite a lot to do. Like, we literally are at the bottom of a mountain. And, we're going to push for it. So that's kind of where we're at, and this is our business. It's the organized collaborative, and I think just the take-home from the organized collaborative is band together with a group of professionals, and instead of the managers having a bonus pool with everybody else being salaried employees, rather just say that you have a shell, the business just has a very small admin fee, And for those that work on certain projects, you split the money. Everybody has to earn their keep. Okay? If you do it like that, and you bring in more business, you'll earn your keep. Let the collaborative bring, you have to almost have somebody that has a big network, that can bring people that can work underneath you to help you scale yourself. So that you can take on more work, pass some of the work done, and build your pipeline. But you've got to be in it for the collaborative. You can't have the independent mindset. Because the truth is, you'll think, oh, I've got this massive deal, like 5 million rand, bro, for the next year. Like, why should I bring it into the collaborative and give them percentages? Because if you don't, you'll be stuck on that one client. As soon as that client drops off, boom, falls off a cliff. Or you could bring some work in, let people work underneath you, build a team underneath you, and go pick up another client that's paying 5 or 10 million rand for the year. That's the smart move. You know, work in a collaborative, share. Share the success. You'll be way more successful. You think you're so smart, you go break your ankle, go break your knee, you're in hospital, you're on painkillers. Like if you're an independent, that's it, that's where it ends. But if you're part of the collaborative, others will step in. Oh, he's not well. You can still get money. You know, bring somebody else to take care of that. That's the collaborative way. Digital collaboration is the future of the corporate world, in my opinion. Thanks.